Hi everyone. This dragon and I were just having a conversation about all the brilliant stories from around the world. He happens to be from Poland, and he was telling me his version of an old Polish folk story called The Dragon of Krak. Now it turns out in Poland the dragons live up in the mountains and it gets ever so cold, and they usually sleep on a nest of fire to keep themselves warm. I haven't got a fire nest here, but hopefully he's nice and toasty next to this nice warm campfire. Now, I'm going to tell you my version of the story that he's just told me. My version of the Dragon of Krak. A long time ago, in the country of Poland, there lived a very wise and brilliant king called King Krak. All the people of Poland loved King Krak. He was wise, he was fair, he was kind. The people would have done anything that the king asked them. And because of that, the land was happy. All the people were happy and prosperous and had plenty to eat. That is, until the dragon decided to come down from the mountain one day. Down came the dragon from the mountain and gobbled up all of the crops, all of the things growing in the farmer's field in the whole country. Not a stick of corn was left in any field. The dragon looked the farmers in the eye and he said, "I am full for now, but tomorrow I will be back. Tomorrow I will be hungry. Tomorrow I will need something else to eat." And back he went up to the mountains. And sure enough, the next day down came the dragon. Well, there was no food left in the fields. He'd eaten every last bean, every last stick of corn the day before. But what there were the animals. And the dragon gobbled up every sheep, every goat, every horse, every cow, every living creature that he could possibly find. He gobbled up. And he said, "I am full for now, but tomorrow I will be back. Tomorrow I will be hungry. Tomorrow I will need something to eat." And sure enough, this dragon was true to his word, and the next day he came down from the mountains and he didn't find anything in the field. He'd eaten all of the vegetables, all the growing things. He'd eaten all the farm animals. So he came into the town and he went through every single shop and he gobbled up all the food on all of the shelves in every single shop till there was nothing left. Well, the people of the country were beginning to get a little bit worried. And sure enough, just like before, the dragon said, "I am full for now, but tomorrow I will be hungry. Tomorrow I will be back. Tomorrow I will need something to eat. And if there is nothing else, tomorrow I will eat the children." Well, back he went, back up to the mountains, and the place descended into panic. Every single mother, every single father, everybody was worried sick. Nobody wanted any of the children to be eaten, least of all the king. He was a very wise, very kind, very wonderful king, if you remember, and so everybody trusted him. And he said, my people, calm down. Calm down. Don't panic. I will come up with a plan. I will make sure that the dragon does not harm a single hair on any of your children's heads. You must not worry. Well, when the king said he would make it all right, everybody calmed down. Everybody trusted him. Of course it would be all right if King Krak said it would be all right. Everybody in the land fell fast asleep peacefully in their beds because they knew they could trust King Krak. Everybody, that is, except the king's advisors, and they were huddled in the castle, thinking very, very hard, trying very, very hard to come up with a plan which meant that none of the children would be hurt in the morning. "I have a brilliant idea, Your Majesty," said the most important advisor. "What you must do is you must gather your knights and your soldiers, your army and your navy, and you must send them up to the mountain to kill the dragon." "What a wise plan," said the king. And that's what he did. The very next morning, every single soldier, every knight, everybody who could fight was up the mountain, creeping closer and closer to the dragon's den. Well, the dragon woke up, sniffed the air, and immediately smelt all the people coming towards him. Straight away, a great jet of fire shot out of the dragon's mouth and turned everybody into toast. The dragon lumbered out of his cave and gobbled them all up. "Well, I am full for now," said the dragon, "but tomorrow I will be hungry. Tomorrow I will need something else to eat." And slunk back into his cave. Well, the king was a little bit concerned. "We mustn't panic. We mustn't worry. There will be a plan," he said. "And together we will work it out." And he called his advisors to him. And he said, "We need another plan. It must be foolproof. It must be brilliant." And they thought, and they thought, and they thought the hardest they could think. And they scratched their heads. And they came up with another plan. This time, the king called all the witches and wizards and all the magicians and all the wonderful people that could perform magic in the country, and he sent them up to the dragon's lair. And there they were with their wands out and their spell books open first thing in the morning when the dragon lumbered out of his cave. Well, I'm sorry to say they didn't have a chance to mutter even a single abracadabra before an enormous shot of fire zoomed out of the dragon's mouth and turned them all into toast, and the dragon gobbled them up. "Tomorrow I will be hungry. Tomorrow I will need food. But today I am full." And he slunk back into his den. Well, this was it. Even the king was starting to get worried now, and he called the whole country together and he said, "We need a plan. There will be a plan. You must not panic. There will be a brilliant idea, but we must all think together." And everybody thought. They thought and scratched their heads and thought some more, until eventually there was a tug, a pulling on the king's robes. And there, standing right next to the king, bold as brass, brave as you like, was a little boy. "What are you doing?" said his mummy and daddy. "Shh, get off, go away, leave the poor king to think," said the villagers. "Please, excuse me," said the little boy. I think I've got an idea." "Don't be daft, you don't know anything, you're only little, you're still in school, what can you possibly know that the advisors don't know?" said everybody in the crowd. "Please, I think it might work," said the little boy. "Shh," said the wise king. "Shh, let the boy speak. He's as much right as anybody else." "Come here, little boy," said the wise king. And he bent down low, and the boy whispered in his ear. "I think your plan is as good as any we've tried, young boy," said the king. "We will try it. You must tell everybody what you'd like them to do." And he handed a microphone to the little boy. And the little boy shouted as loudly as he could into the microphone and deafened everybody's ears. "I don't think you need that microphone," said the king. And he took it away, and the little boy said, "Listen, everybody. What we need to do is to trick the dragon. What I want you to do, please, is to bring all your fluffiest clothes, all your rugs, all your sheep fleeces, anything that you've got that's warm and snuggly and fluffy, and I want you to bring it to my mum and dad's house. You know that my mummy and daddy are the best sewers in the land. They've sewn most of your clothes and your blankets and your curtains in your houses. I would like you please to bring all of your things to my mummy and daddy's house. Well, everybody sort of looked at each other and, well, what other choice have we got? And the king thinks it'll work. So off they went back to their houses, and they brought armfuls of fluffy blankets and teddy bears and sheepskin rugs, and they laid them all outside the seamstress, the sewer's house. And that night, the boy and his mummy and daddy sewed and stitched all the things together into a giant, enormous, fluffy sack. The next morning, the boy called everyone together and he said, "What I would like, please, is for you to bring everything from your house that will burn, that will make fire, that might even go bang, and bring them to our house, please." So back everybody went, and they grabbed anything that they could spare, all the firewood. Some of the older people even had fireworks, and they brought them in a great heap to the front of the seamstress's house. And the little boy and his mummy and daddy stuffed all the things that would burn inside the giant woolly sack. And then the townspeople could sort of see what the plan might be, because when the giant fluffy sack was stuffed, it looked like the most enormous fluffy sheep, all stuffed together, full of things that would burn. And again, the seamstress and his family sewed and stitched everything together. Then the king called everybody back together and he said, "I need some brave, brave people to take this up to the dragon's lair." "Oh, not me," said everybody. Well, eventually, a few very brave people elbowed their way to the front. One of those was the little boy. And they said, We'll take it. We'll take it up to the dragon." Well, that night, the gods must have been smiling on them, because there was no moon, there were no stars. It was pitch, pitch black. Nothing to give them away, as the group of people pushed and shoved and heaved and hauled this sack of burning fluff up to the dragon's den. And they hid behind a bush and they waited till the next morning. Well, luckily the next morning the direction of the wind had changed, and the dragon couldn't smell the people hiding behind the bush, but he could smell what he thought was very tempting. So out he came from his den, and he saw the most enormous fluffy sack, and it looked to him like a huge sheep, and he gobbled it up. Well, inside your tummy there's something called stomach acid, and when stomach acid gets warm, it sometimes gets so hot inside a dragon's tummy anyway, it sometimes gets so hot that things set on fire. And that's just what the little boy had been counting on. Oh, the dragon didn't feel very well. Oh no, he got the most terrible tummy ache as the things inside the fluffy pretend sheep had caught on fire. The fireworks began to pop and boom and bang inside the poor dragon's tummy. And very, very soon there was the most enormous, almighty bang! And the dragon exploded into hundreds and hundreds of pieces. Just enough that everybody had something to eat through the winter until the crops could be seen in the fields again and the farmers could fill their barns and food could be made. And no dragon ever bothered the King of Krak ever again. Now, I wouldn't let anything like that happen to this dragon. As it happens, he's a very friendly dragon, and I hear from him that quite a lot of dragons are. Bye-bye, everybody.